as I am recording this, it has been 258 days since Khamzat Chimaev last fought, man. Not only has it been 258 days, it seems like he's had multiple chances to fight. He's asked multiple people to fight, and the UFC and the UFC brass just don't want to get him a fight, man. So, in today's video, we're going to be talking about what the hell is going on with Khamzat Chimaev, man.
Say something! Don't win now! All you boys! This is Ginger! I'm most dangerous guy here. I got a gun for everyone. I kill everybody. Allah Akbar.
Now, as you can tell from that clip, Khamzat Chimaev is a bad boy, man. So, let's talk about it, because again, he's in like the weirdest situation I think I've ever seen with the UFC, to where they have this superstar fighter that everybody knows is a superstar, that everybody knows is good, and they just either one, refuse to book him a fight, or two, they can't get anybody to fight him, which I personally believe is one, and I'm going to explain why I think it's one, bro, in a minute. But let's talk about Khamzat Chimaev. So of course, I believe in 2020, burst onto the scene, 3 wins in like 3 months, dog. He knocked Gerald Meerschaert out, slept him. Like that Gerald Meerschaert knockout is still one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen. And it's not because of the knockout itself. It's just like the whole situation surrounding it, and him taking the fight on short notice and just flatlining Gerald Meerschaert, bro. So you go from there. COVID happens. He doesn't fight. He actually almost retires during COVID. He comes back, strangles Ji Liang, bro. Him and Burns have that fight of the year candidate, and he strangles Kevin Holland. Now, the prerequisite with him strangling Kevin Holland is the fact that he did miss weight when he was supposed to be fighting Nate Diaz, man. So yeah, now we're here in 2023, and Khamzat Chimaev hasn't fought. Not only has he not fought, he hasn't even been getting any type of attention from the UFC brass, man. And again, I believe that is for a couple of reasons. One, he did piss them off. He did miss weight at 170. And we all know at the time, there was a situation that was being set up, right? You were going to have Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. Kamaru Usman was supposed to just flatline Leon Edwards. He was supposed to beat him, and he was going to win that. He was going to keep his title. And then Khamzat Chimaev was going to beat Nate Diaz. He was going to make 170, and he was going to go up, and him and Kamaru Usman were going to have this super fight. Well, that all unraveled, man. And of course, Khamzat Chimaev ends up missing weight. He still beats Kevin Holland, which I still will say it to this day. Even if Kevin Holland isn't as big as a name like Nate Diaz, at the time when they fought, Kevin Holland was a better win than Nate Diaz would have been. Like, Kevin Holland is legitimately a top 15 welterweight in the world, bro. That's a better win than Nate Diaz was at that point. And then of course, with the Kamaru Usman side, he gets flatlined by Leon Edwards, and we all know how that ends, man. So like I said, now in 2023, you have this situation to where Khamzat Chimaev can't get a fight, and it's partly because of 2 reasons. One, the UFC clearly wants him to fight at 185. It does not seem like Khamzat Chimaev wants to fight at 185. Even to this day, he's still calling out 170ers, even though Dana White has said multiple times that he wants Khamzat Chimaev's next fight to be at 185. And then 2, I feel like he's in a doghouse with the UFC, because not only did he miss weight, but he did kind of mess up an opportunity there to where, honestly, if he had beat Nate Diaz and Leon had beat Kamaru Usman twice like he did, we would probably be talking about Leon Edwards versus Khamzat Chimaev right now, instead of Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards. Because a lot of people forget, Khamzat Chimaev was right there next in line for the next title shot. He had just beat Burns. He was going to beat Nate, and then no matter who won those 2 fights between Leon and Kamaru Usman, you were going to get Khamzat fighting him. But that all went downhill the moment that he missed weight. So Khamzat Chimaev is not to blame for, he's not without blame for him not being able to get a fight. But still, at the same time, it is a weird situation I've ever seen with the UFC, because you've had even multiple 185ers calling him out, man. Where you've had guys like Robert Whittaker said they're willing to fight him. You've had guys like Paulo Costa, even though Paulo Costa has had his own situation with the UFC, which we'll talk about another day, bro. But Paulo Costa agreed to it. Sean Strickland said he would take the fight, man. Marvin Vettori said he would take the fight. So there's not like there's a lack of 185ers willing to fight him, man. And you say, well, they're probably just accepting these fights in public and denying them behind closed doors. When has Robert Whittaker ever denied a fight? When has Marvin Vettori ever denied a fight? So I find it hard to believe that they're just not like this. They're just saying, oh yeah, I will take the fight, and not fight him. In particular, the case with a guy like Robert Whittaker, who after he lost to Uzi, after he lost to Izzy the second time and he beat Vettori, he needed another really big win. Khamzat Chimaev could have been that big win, and if you're the UFC, you could have just put him and Khamzat in there, and that's a #1 contender fight right there. So I don't know what's going on with that situation. It seems very weird, and now there's talk about having Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev fight at 185, which if that fight happens, it would have been over a year since Khamzat Chimaev has fought. You told me nobody within a year accepted a fight against Khamzat Chimaev, man? And then even if he beats Usman, which just sets up this whole trail of events, right? Because if the fight happens at 185, you clearly say, okay, you had to fight at 185, man. We're going to just make it to where Khamzat Chimaev is now the #1 contender at 185. Well, here's the side of that doesn't work, because Robert Whittaker and Dricus du Plessis are now fighting for the #1 contendership at 185, man. So even if Khamzat Chimaev beats Kamaru Usman, he's going to have to wait at least another 6 to 7 months before he gets his title fight, depending on what happens with Izzy. And God forbid Izzy loses to Robert Whittaker or Dricus du Plessis, he gets an immediate rematch, and that's going to be another year, another 3-4 months that Khamzat Chimaev is going to have to sit out. You say, well, maybe he goes back down to 170 to fight Kamaru Usman. Well, again, that's kind of logjam at this point also. Now, you have Colby Covington and Leon Edwards, who are probably going to fight sometime around October. That happens in October. Bilal Muhammad has already been guaranteed a title shot, so that fight is going to happen February, March. And then Khamzat, say Khamzat does end up beating Usman, you're talking about April, May, June, July. You're talking about almost another year before he gets his title shot. It's not like Khamzat Chimaev is a young dude either. He's 29 years old, and I think he's turned 30 this year, man. So both of those divisions which he's fighting in, it's just like they're backlogged with title contenders, to where it's like Khamzat Chimaev is in between a rock and a hard place. If he beats Usman, cool. Now you still have to wait 6 to 7 months to get your title shot, no matter which division it's in, because you already have #1 contender fights set up. Which we know that the UFC does not care about #1 contender fights. They would find a way to subvert them. But at the same time, again, he's just in a weird situation, and it's one of the weirdest situations I've ever seen from a guy who, he literally, he was one fight. If he had just mauled Nate Diaz, which I still to this day believe, he would have had a title shot, no matter who the champion was. He was next in line. To now, he can't get a fight. Him and the UFC, him and Dana White have kind of went back and forth a little bit on Twitter, not on Twitter, but in social media, they've kind of just shot little shots at each other. And he's now just sitting on the sidelines and about to have to get a significantly harder fight than he had would have just already won in Nate Diaz if he gets Kamaru Usman, man. So again, I've never personally seen it from a fighter like Khamzat Chimaev. It's just super weird in my opinion. Now, again, I love Khamzat Chimaev. I'm going to watch any of his fights, but I just wanted to come on here and talk about the situation with Khamzat Chimaev, because I've never seen it before, man. Now, in my personal opinion, what do I think happens? I think he's going to end up fighting Kamaru Usman. I do believe that fight will be at 185. I don't think the UFC is going to do that at 170, and it's not because I don't believe Khamzat Chimaev can make weight. I think he can make weight. I just think they want to make one new 185 contenders, which they've made very clear. So I do think that's going to be at 185, which leads to a different circumstance for itself, because if Usman beats Khamzat Chimaev at 185, is he going to fight Izzy? Is he going to do that, man? So yeah, but let me know what you guys think on the Khamzat Chimaev situation down below. That's just my opinion on it, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I got MMA content coming for you guys, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. Bye, man.